It's the Social Drinkers podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Social Drinkers podcast. I'm Chon.
And I'm Sean P.
And our special guest,
I'm Joy.
Y'all, we have Joy, the beautiful Joy, in our studios today. And we have a somewhat sensitive topic, but yet it'll raise awareness. Today, our topic is going to be suicide awareness. Joy has been instrumental, that would be the word I would use for you, for bringing us certain enlightening topics that we know will be prevalent for our audience. So at this time, we're going to let Joy introduce herself, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Joy. And I feel this kind of way because she's such a phenomenal young woman. Joy is an author. She's a actress. She's a poet. She's a motivational coach. Joy has a plethora of tasks and chores that she does and talents and attributes. I'm going to let her tell you guys more about her.
Thank you for the great introduction.
You're welcome.
So those are titles that I wear, but more so I like to say that I feel like I'm just a warrior that's out here trying to help people find joy, real joy, happiness, and to just propel into their destiny. I'm not really a big person on titles because I think that we
kind of box ourselves
it boxes us in, but all the things that you said are things that I partake in, are part of my gifts. Yes. But I'm definitely a warrior. I have survived a lot, and I'm just here on a mission to help other people to get to that place in their lives.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I couldn't have did a better intro than that. I love that. Sean, you have anything?
I don't have anything. I'm ready to kind of get into it.
Okay.
We've had the opportunity to talk a little bit before the camera started rolling.
Yes.
And just a very interesting person. I do want to ask you one question
Go
at the
ahead.
top. How'd you get into Tubi movies?
So I'm on Tubi and Amazon.
Okay.
And then this summer I'll be on
Get
Netflix.
it right, Sean. Tubi and Amazon.
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So I can go downstairs after you.
Right now, and you can play it. Yeah, so I'm on
Okay.
Amazon, Tubi, and then I recently just did an episode for a Netflix series that is coming out this summer. But I've been acting all of my life, but it was majority stage plays. And then when I lived in the New York area, I did some Broadway. But COVID did a U-turn in my life and was like, okay, we're shutting down everything where people have to be in person together.
Okay.
And so I started taking classes and decided that I would try on camera in commercials because at that time you were still able to be on set.
Okay.
So
I guess it wouldn't even be fair to call you a Tubi actress. That's a bad title. You're an actress.
yeah, I'm an actress.
I got you.
Yeah.
You didn't hear me use the word Tubi, so why did you pick up the word Tubi? I know.
Correcting myself.
Okay, well, good.
No, but
She's self-corrected.
it's work. It's the work.
Yeah, because there's a lot of great actors and actresses that we know from movies and stuff, and they got their start on,
Yeah.
We just got to talk about James Earl Jones, and he did
Yes.
Fences.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty
outstanding.
phenomenal. I told you she's an outstanding
I
young
see.
woman. Okay. So when you and I talked, we wanted to definitely talk about some of the reasons why suicide take place, or some people contemplate suicide, or they actually go through with it.
Yeah.
And some of the things upon us speaking and researching. So when we talked earlier, we were just so taken back that the CDC has so much information. And a lot of people don't even know the Center for Disease Control has so much literature on their website for suicide prevention. And they also have resources. So that was pretty phenomenal to know because I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. And they gave us some pretty strong statistics that we'll share in a little bit during the segment. But right now, some of the things that we talked about that individuals may do where they're contemplating or they actually commit the suicide is due to like mental health disorders, something that our community does not like to talk about. Can you expound a little bit on your view?
So I think when it comes to like our community in suicide, it's just another taboo subject. We as a community, there are just certain subjects that we don't bring to the table. We don't sit down as a family and discuss those things. And I think that because we don't understand suicide, it's something that we don't really talk about. We feel that as a culture, we've overcome a lot as a people. So you're to be strong, keep your head up, and whatever life throws your way, that's what you're supposed to endure, right? And so we don't really just dive into the conversations surrounding it, and we don't talk to the people that we're connected to about, if you are in a dark space and you feel like you can't handle it, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, we just tell each other, hey, pat on the back, I'm going to pray for you, you know, and keep going. So it's just been
walk it off.
Yeah.
Basically, I like that.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Or if you're a guy, man up. Deal with it.
Definitely if you're a guy. Don't cry. And definitely don't think about
So
suicide.
we've covered that before. About
Yes.
crying.
We
That's
have.
something that we do in private.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not the best way to do that. Like if you have to cry, maybe you need somebody to help console you.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like unmanly to have people consoling you and stuff. So I can see how that would build up on a man.
So have you had any guys who actually were struggling from the male's perspective with not admitting they're not okay, you know, or they won't admit it that they're not okay?
So when you ask, that's a tricky question.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I have a core group of friends who I've been friends with for the last 30 years or more. Well, actually way more than that.
Right.
You know, like me, Chris, Jonathan, Chuck, Byron, we've been friends for like 15. If they're struggling, for the most part, we'll know. Or we get to the point where we recognize that somebody's struggling. Me, I typically isolate.
Yeah.
And so if I go missing or something, somebody already knows, oh, he going through it. But more of a casual acquaintance with a man, you may not know that they're going through anything because we may not necessarily
talk about it.
Yeah, because you know you don't want to come off as a punk.
Yeah.
You don't want to come off as weak, and so you end up eating that. I guess the issue with that is if you're constantly swallowing your pain and whatever your struggle, whatever it is you're going through with no outlet, then I can kind of see where that might cause problems down the line.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And our next one, trauma and abuse.
Yeah, that's a deep one.
You don't have to go granular yet because we don't want to expose your story yet.
Yeah, that's a deep one.
Touch.
As a community, I feel like trauma abuse is embedded in us, right? Just because of our DNA structure. When you look at everything that past generations that we're connected to have, you know, been through. So we're born, I believe, with some form of trauma. But I think that that's another thing that we don't shine a lot of light on. We don't talk about the things that hurt us because, like he said, you're seen as weak. You're not, you know. And a lot of times we want people to see us one way. We don't want people to know what's going on behind closed doors. And so I just think that it's another level of conversation that our community has to start being comfortable with. Like, girl, I'm not okay.
Right.
Like, you know, just having those heartfelt conversations to say that right now this is a really bad season for me. But on the receiving end, being that person that can say to your sister, your brother, like, hey, well, I'm going to stand with you in this season, versus people having to isolate and go through those seasons alone.
Yes.
So
you want to add?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I want to learn something tonight.
Me too.
I'm going to listen more than I speak. If I got something to add, then I'll add on, but this seems like something that you're well versed in, so I want to know more about it for personal reasons, and I will share that a little bit later.
I respect that. Yeah.
Okay, and substance abuse.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love abusing substances.
Yeah, it's kind of like, ooh. But at what level do we?
Yeah, exactly.
Pause the button on it, right?
Right.
It's to numb the pain.
Yeah.
So I don't have anyone to go to. I can't be vulnerable. So I'm gonna have my bottle, or I'm gonna have my drug of choice.
Yeah.
And I have a person I used to be friends with, and her favorite saying was like, "My best friend is Hennessy." And she's talking about the Hennessy bottle because she felt like that was when she was safe, when she had her, her alcohol, but it became an addiction after a while.
Yeah.
So I think that everything is with balance, and I feel that as a community, we should encourage people. If you see, when your person or your friend or a family member has a substance abuse problem, and I think being able to say like, hey, you're struggling in that area, like maybe, try working out. You know, maybe like find out what that person is into and suggest either doing that with that person or, you know, like, hey, try this route. Maybe take a 30-day cleanse. Let's do it together, something like that. But we have to start being real with each other when we see that things are turning from social fun to addiction.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's true.
We can kind of glorify certain things, like you may even earn a title, like you may be the drunk auntie.
Yeah.
It's just
right.
That's Uncle
we
Chon.
just excuse that behavior. Yeah.
Pull your pants up, Uncle Chon.
No, Uncle Chon is hurting.
Yeah.
And, you know, this has become something that Uncle Chon is doing to cope.
That's
so
right.
No, Uncle Chon, let's go play football together.
Exactly.
You know, let's release that, whatever you're dealing with.
Exactly. Man, this is some good stuff. And this is just basic conversation to get you guys, if you recognize anyone in your family, your friends, whatever your surrounding atmosphere may be, that you're able to recognize these particular attributes and be able to assist and know that something's wrong.
Yeah.
Our next one is isolation and loneliness.
Yeah. I think that, you know, people say it's cliche, but always check on the strong people.
Yeah. The
life of the party, the person that's always there for everyone. I think just knowing people that you're connected to, like I'm very big on like relationship. We sometimes as a community, we call everybody sis, auntie, cousin, but we know nothing about them.
Exactly.
So you can't save the whole world, but the people that are your world, knowing them and knowing like, okay, hey, I haven't seen such and such, you know, in 3 or 4 days, haven't heard from them.
Right.
Reaching out, you know, okay, if that person doesn't reach back out, stopping by to check on them. I mean, I think that we have to get back into being in a relationship with each other and not saying, well, they posted on social media, so they're fine.
Right.
Because that's what everybody's using now.
Yeah. So just getting back to relationship and making sure that you know what's going on with the people that you're connected to.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's good. The next one is chronic pain or illness.
So that's not something that me personally I've ever had to experience. I dated someone and they had a back issue. And I watched how, you know, you might say, okay, you've been dealing with that for a really long time. Like, you're fine. You should be used to it by now. But that person was losing their mind to the pain that they were in. And so once again, it's learning the people that you're connected to. And I think if you see that someone is struggling with some type of chronic pain, just making sure that they're getting the resources that they need, right? People kill themselves behind being in pain and because they feel like that's the only release that they can get. And I think with chronic pain, that person should also be receiving some type of mental health help.
Absolutely.
To help them mentally with what the body is experiencing.
That's good.
I will speak on this part.
Yeah, please.
I told you I got my hips replaced.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, various reasons why I had to do that.
Right.
But it started at a really young age. And they're like, well, it's probably not a good idea that we deal with this. Let's just wait. And so 10 years later, couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Had trouble eating. And so, you know, I felt myself getting, my personality changing, getting angrier and over nothing. Because there was nothing they could do. The pain pills didn't touch it. It wasn't until after I got the issue fixed. So in that same breath, the line of work that I'm in now, it is very prevalent that people will, you know, resort to that, ending it or checking out.
Right.
I'm trying to be real picky how I say it.
Right.
But yeah, there are chronic illnesses where there is just, it's not ever going anywhere.
Right.
And there's really not a lot that somebody can do to alleviate that pain, so you find an alternate reason.
Yeah.
But if I had to live with the pain that I was going through for the rest of my life, I can't imagine. I would say I can't imagine how I would be able to cope with that because it was, you know. So
what was the actor that, you know, chose to end his life?
Robin Williams.
That's what I was about to say.
That, that's what came to my mind. You know, the amount of pain that he had to be in.
Oh, and also I heard Don Cornelius.
Okay. Yeah, they said he did too. But did they ever confirm it?
That he committed?
That it was suicide?
Yeah. Okay. So it was definitely suicide, but he was dealing with something that he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Just think of something that you can't even control because pain is, you can't control it in certain cases, you know, and that's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing. Okay, that was a good one. And then the
Chon,
next,
I'm gonna call you out, man. I think it'd been way better if you had the cards.
if I had the cards,
Yeah.
I can put one underneath my
It's
phone.
too late now.
I
They've
know.
already seen the phone.
I know. I apologize. I'll be
We
better.
had to be candid for a second. I do apologize.
Yeah,
y'all.
it's
So
okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just so much to unpack. I didn't want you to find me if I didn't stay in order, so I'm just protecting myself in that manner.
Don't act like I be
I'm just saying.
finding people.
Yeah, I didn't want that to happen.
$50.
See that part. So the next one is life event and stressors.
I always say that when something traumatic happens, it's better to deal with it than to let it deal with you. And so that's another thing of us just realizing that we have an issue. Like, nothing is wrong with saying this hurt me, this affected me, this has shifted my entire life. I don't know how to deal with it. Being open, being candid. And I think that if we all can start to be more open and vulnerable, we will be able to get the help that we need. But it starts with self, because I can't expect for you to be here for me if I'm telling you that this traumatic life event, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm okay.
Right.
But then I'm mad because the world is not there for me, or the people that I'm connected is not there for me. I have to be able to say, like, hey, sis, like, this has shaken me to the core.
Yeah.
I need help.
Absolutely.
I'm losing it. And so just being real with ourselves and realizing that we all go through trauma. I mean, grief, sometimes things with our kids, sometimes things with our jobs, relationships.
Finances. Don't leave that out.
Yeah, can be a big deal.
Yeah.
So just being able to say, I'm not okay.
Right.
No, I'm not, so.
Do you think that's hard for most people to say, or just is it a demographic or something that people are more prone to holding all that in?
You want the real answer?
Absolutely.
I think it's a hard thing for our community. Okay. I see working in social services, I see where other communities are quick to say, oh, I'm having a mental crisis, like this, But with us, it's like, no, I'm good. Like, I got this.
And you're not good.
And it's just the stigma with us because we've been through so much that we're raised to take a lick and keep on ticking, you know?
So we look at white people, oh, bitches.
Yeah. But they're actually doing the right
They're
thing.
healthy ones.
Yeah, exactly.
You
It's
know,
us walking around. And then that makes us to where we snap at everybody. We're angry with our children. We're angry with our husband. We're angry with everybody because we have so many unresolved issues that has never been, rectified because we sweep it under the rug.
So do you think it's like a collective PTSD almost?
Absolutely.
it is. Oh, it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah. And especially with, I know black men they're becoming to have a higher rate of suicide, but with women too. Women do not care for themselves as they should. And, we go back in, and this is just not to take away from any other race, but as a black woman, when we're in certain positions too, and I've experienced this.
Come on.
Other races, they don't want to take orders. If you have a higher position, they don't want to take leadership from you. I'm not going to even use the word orders, leadership, direction from you. And they give you such a hard time, and then they can ask somebody the same race as them, and then
It's all good.
It's all good. And then they getting the wrong fucking answer. Or they got the answer because that person came and circled back around and asked you so they can tell them, And it's a lot of stress and it's
we have
a lot
so
of
much
pressures.
to prove as black women.
We do.
We've come a long way. That's not to take away from where we've come, but as black women, we have to prove things to the black men that are in our lives. We have to, it's just always something that a black woman is having to prove that she's good enough, she's worthy enough, and that comes with a lot when you're still taking care of kids, having a career, having a husband and a partner, whatever. It's a lot.
And we always want to feel like we're good enough. So we get all these plastic surgeries. And, I hear that they down the black women for getting BBLs and all that. I personally.
I swear to God, we don't care.
But no, that's not my point. Right. That's not my point.
Shit. We don't even give a fuck if you got like a little bit of.
But that's not my point. The point is that we're degraded so much by men and we're never enough. We're trying to, even though I don't want to do it, or anything, but so what? I mean, but speaking for the women that do, we're degraded so much by our own men. that we're trying to prove something, that we are good enough, we are worthy enough. Because if we feel like we look good, we're going to feel good. And a lot of that stuff is internal from not having internal healing, where these women choose to butcher their bodies. You know, it's heartbreaking. And instead of us trying to tell them you're good enough, we tear them up. Look how they get tore up on social media. Her ass is uneven. Look at her titties. I think one is feel like more than the other. We sit up there and we pick them apart, you know, instead of saying, let's help them.
And I think like my generation is really struggling with that. Because I'm not going to say that, you know, I haven't thought about it, because majority of the women that are my age, they've had something done.
Oh yeah.
So it becomes a conversation topic. It's like, you know, a surgery buddy.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be my surgery buddy? You want to go, you know? And so when you're embraced in that, it's like, okay, well, what is wrong with me that I can go get fixed? Because that's what everyone that is, you know, around my age is doing. And, you know, it makes you, it makes you question yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
So
you know?
do you think that being on social media kind of sets the standard for what beauty is?
If we're being real, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Because someone, and I'll use this as an analogy, a person that has substance that wants to be an influencer, and I'm wanting to influence on social media because I really want to help, or you're going to see less of a popularity versus you know, a woman that has had her body done, had her face messed with, you know, have veneers, have the long beautiful hair, and she's an influencer because she's telling you to get dressed with her for the day.
Exactly.
And so it begins to it's like, okay, well, I'm going to come over here because this is what is working.
Yes.
What I'm trying to do is not
It's
working.
not working.
Yeah.
Being authentic and
It's not
your
working.
You're just normal self.
I dated just a couple years ago. I'm not gonna say her name. I'm not gonna.
Don't do that.
No, well, no. But she has a decent following.
Okay.
And she sells the waist trainers and a tea.
Okay.
And one of the videos she did, she said, I weighed this, and then after this amount of time, now I weigh this, and it's the herbal tea and the waist trainer. But I know that I know the extent of stuff
that she went through.
That you went through, and also, I was like, man, I did not know you lost that much weight.
So you knew her afterwards?
No. This is during, she's actively
in the process of it. Okay, got
this
it.
particular question, the video popped up, and I was like, I did not know you lost that much weight over that amount of time.
Right.
You said, boy, I ain't weighed myself in months.
But you could see it.
No.
She was being unauthentic.
It wasn't real.
Yeah, it wasn't real.
Yeah, so.
How did I miss that? That just went all the way over my head.
No, it's cool. It's cool. The point I'm trying to make is that I've dated a couple of influencers.
Yeah.
She was basically a snake oil salesperson.
Gotcha.
And that she paid for what she had. If somebody really wants to believe that if I buy your tea, if I wear this waist trainer faithfully, and go sit in the sauna,
I could look like you.
I'll look like you.
I got it.
When in reality,
she paid to get herself to.
Well, I don't want to harp on that because you know I had bags under my eyes real bad, and I had surgery. Yeah. So that's
not no. I'm not knocking her for it.
Right. The thing, I'm trying to be very careful what I what I criticize.
Right.
The point I'm trying to make is that the information that people seek out on social media and they try to emulate is not possible. Yeah. Because I know somebody that's claimed they did something that
they didn't. That was my point. Yeah, it wasn't authentic.
Yeah, and I don't think anything is wrong with surgery. If you can afford it and that's what you choose to do. Yeah. Then hey, but I think what becomes, and that's what I've had to question myself with, are you wanting to do this because you feel that you're not fitting into a box of women that are around your age, you know, and so is it something that I really want to do, or am I doing it because it seems like, well, if I do that, then it's going to bring me to another level.
Yeah. So it'll be society acceptable or acceptable to society.
There is beauty in imperfection. There's those little things. It's like, girl, I love the fact that your right eye is a little smaller than the other. Yeah. That is so cute.
It hangs a little bit when you're smiling.
But
Yes.
Funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, funny like
exactly.
That's my little squinty eye.
Yeah.
And that becomes you know what? It becomes a characteristic of that person.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays people lose the fact that there's that thing about you that makes you
who you are,
but it bothers you so much that I'm going to change it, and you're no longer you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's coming from a man.
Yeah, a whole man. Yeah.
You good?
You did.
Oh,
Poetic
shoot.
snap.
I can't snap good right now. My hands too greasy for all this cooking oil you gave me. Yeah. Cooking oil. Oh crap. Okay. So that actually hit on the cultural and societal factors. So we definitely went over that. And then the perfectionism and high expectations.
Yeah.
Like it seems like it's an expectation for you to look a certain way, be a certain way. They don't even care how you speak. No. You know, it doesn't even.
Substance.
I know, none, zilch, zero. So those expectations are just through the roof. So thank you so much, Joy, for breaking down some of the most commonly reasons why some people can't cope anymore. Yeah. That's the way we'll use it. So now let's get a little personal. So now at this time, we want to talk about your life. From your early childhood, just walk us through, and this is your time to shine and to let us know what you feel comfortable with us knowing. From early childhood, your family dynamics, key experiences from your childhood that kind of, shaped who you are today, and things like that, and any challenges that you faced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all ready?
We ready. We ready.
I guess you can say, I think the earliest memories that I have is at the age of 3, my biological mom basically abandoned me. Mm-hmm. And so I went to live with a couple that couldn't have kids, kind of like friends of a family type of thing. My mom had 5 children. I'm the baby. And then my dad, he was a married man, so you know how that goes. Yeah. He had a family at home, so he couldn't bring me home. Yeah. There are 12 of us by my dad. Wow. And so I have a lot of siblings, but I was not raised with any of them.
17 total?
Yes. Okay. So my siblings by my mom, we all have different dads. And then my siblings by my dad, we all have different moms, except the 2 by his wife. Wow. So a lot of siblings, wasn't raised with any of them, wasn't raised with my biological family per se, and things were, I guess you can say, good for a while. And then I went through a situation with the couple that took me in where they divorced, and life kind of took a turn from there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because who do you go with?
I went with my adopted mom. Yeah, my adopted dad. To this day, he has been everything. He's my anchor. But I did go with my adopted mom, and so they branched off. Things happened, and I don't know if it was the loss that she took, in the divorce. They had been together for a really long time and then separated, never had biological kids of their own. But she was very angry, and I went through a lot of abuse at the hands of her. And so I just grew up always feeling like I did not belong. No matter where I was always like the little adopted cousin, or this is not really our family, such and such took her in. And then having, I guess you can say, like my biological mom in and out. They allowed me to see her, so she would come get me, make a lot of promises, and then of course we know she didn't stick to them. Periodically seeing my biological dad, but I grew up in a small city, so you can drive from one part of the city to the other in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So, this is a small city where I'm not seeing the people that are really supposed to be providing and taking care of me. And then just dealing with someone that was raising me that I felt like hated me. There was just such a hate that was there. It just really challenged my self-esteem as a child in like the worst way. Which I believe was kind of like the starting point for anxiety and depression. And at that time, I didn't know what it was, but just always not feeling worthy enough, just very sensitive. I cried a lot as a kid. But I feel that like what I went through as a child, God always had someone hanging in the balance for me, per se. I had really good mentors in my life. So school mentors, cheerleading coaches, people like that play instrumental roles that I feel kind of kept me on the straight and narrow. Okay. If that makes sense.
Yes.
I dealt with molestation at a very early age. And then when I was open about it, it was just like, it happens. Who cares? You know, it was a very like, girl, get over it.
It was swept under the rug.
Swept under the rug.
No counseling was provided for you or anything. Was it even a consoling hug or nothing?
It was, okay. Like literally like,
wow.
You know, when it finally came out, what do you want me to do? These men are prominent men, like.
It was a family member?
It was 2 family members of the people that took me in.
Right.
Are these people still alive right now?
No. And what's so crazy is one of them ended his own life.
What?
Down the road. You know, he went off, he had kids, but ended his own life.
Just imagine probably what all he's done to young babies like you know?
So and then the other one eventually died of like just being really ill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, they are both.
So you never got that adult closure that you could have gotten from it? Okay.
No, never got adult closure.
Well, would you have wanted to?
I think I would. I more so than anything wanted the truth to be told, because it was just like, you're doing this for attention.
Made up like you're the liar.
Yeah, and so I think that's the part that, because once the innocence is stolen, the innocence is gone.
It's gone.
You can't apologize and give that back to
exactly.
me, you know?
Exactly.
But I think for what you've done to be exposed so that people can understand that this really happened.
Right.
Versus it being, she's just looking for attention. You know,
right.
That type of thing.
So do you, and then I won't dwell on this any longer, do you think you wanted that self-satisfaction to your foster mom or adoptive mom that was so, she wanted to be crass on top of abusive, on top of now she's deeming you're not telling the truth. So would you wanted it for self-approval for her to know that I wasn't lying, I was being honest.
I think she knew I wasn't lying.
Because
I think people know what run in their bloodline.
Yeah.
And so I think that she knew that I wasn't lying, but I also think that she knew if it got out, what it could do to her family.
I got you.
So it was more of like a be quiet, shut up and sit down type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll go in this house, stay in this house.
Was she as callous towards you when she was with her husband?
No.
So it did change after.
Yeah.
And so she was dealing with something.
Oh, most definitely. I think so, because I mean, we left like, you know, like I said, my adopted dad, he's a great guy. And he's a man's man, you know?
Yeah.
So we left from that form of like stability we moved into like the projects. Like the
wow.
hood. Yeah,
so it was a total lifestyle change.
Total lifestyle change.
Wow.
You know, and we were living in a 2-bedroom apartment with like 4 or 5 family members, like moved back in with her mom. So it was a complete lifestyle change.
Wow.
And then I think the fact that I'm so close to him, and even though he was not my biological dad, he still was present.
Yes.
He was doing his thing, but he was coming, you know, he was picking up and he was
present for you.
Did you have the option of being with him if you wanted?
No, that was never like because I think he was fighting his own demons with, you know, you're divorced. So being with other women, doing his thing with other women. And so it's like, you're with your mom, but you know, dad'll come pick you up. Dad'll come to the games. It was like that type of thing.
Yeah. And she probably was angry because he would stay consistent with you and not her.
And now as a healed adult or an adult that is healing, I don't think I'll ever be fully just 100% healed. I can understand that, but as a kid, it's like
you don't get it.
Yeah,
what did I do to you? You know,
it's a liberating feeling to actually become adult and know you're fucked up.
Yeah,
and acknowledge.
Yeah. Absolutely,
I'm fucked up.
Yes,
I can't fix it.
It's eye opening.
However, I can learn how to function as an adult. In spite of it.
Yes, and still have joy in my life.
Yeah, it's the functioning part.
I know, you see that? You like Yes. Wow. Joelle, I'm sorry, but thank you for sharing that because you know how I feel about you. So
it's good.
Pulling at the heartstrings, and you're strong to be able to endure and want to use your challenges to help somebody else. Like Chon and I appreciate you 100%. So now let's transition into adulthood and your pursuit of your passions, and you're trying to pick up the pieces now from things that have transpired.
I can say like early adulthood, I self-sabotaged a lot.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I've always had as much bad as I went through, I've always kind of like, it's weird. It's like a catch-22.
Yeah.
Like, I've been through a lot, but I've always had really good opportunities.
Wow.
But I can honestly say 18 to about 26, I was just like on a crash dummy mission. It seemed like I would get an opportunity and I would self-sabotage it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I never felt good enough. Yeah. And people be like, oh, that sounds so cute. No, it's real. Like, when you don't believe that you are worthy of an opportunity or a situation, you can self-sabotage it. And so I did a lot of that in my early 20s. I did go off to school. You know, I have 2 degrees, so I was able to accomplish that. I've had just fantastic opportunities in so many different settings, but I always found myself either like not going all the way or doing something that would end that opportunity, and it was just like a cycle. And then halfway through my 20s, I got into church really, really heavy because you know, people tell you, go to church. You want to fix yourself, go to church. And that's not to take away from what church can really be for a person. I think that I was just using it for the wrong reason. Right? Because I thought it was going to end all my pain, all my suffering. I'm going to walk in there, be saved, be healed. And when I come out,
hallelujah. I get you.
And it didn't, it brought more issues because it was like an addiction for me. And I started to become so religious. Like, I was just like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know, I've arrived, like, I'm holy now. And in actuality, I was losing it, you know? And I think that, and I bring that up because it played such a big role in who I am now and things that I've learned that, you know, I had to learn God for myself. I had to build a relationship with God for who I know God to be and not what someone is telling me that God is to me. And it was a good about 5 or 6 years of my life that I went through a lot in the church. And it caused me to face my demons, but I don't think that I was ready for what I was facing.
Right. Yeah. That's just like, y'all gonna trip. This analogy I'm about to use, you know, your man or your woman or whoever, they got their phone on the table and you decide you want to go through their phone. You're not ready for what you're about to see. You're just not ready. That was the best one. When you go looking, you're gonna find something. I know you got something to say, but that was the best.
I'm not, but there's no need to. Boy. I don't do that unless I'm ready to act on it. I'm going to go through your phone, and if I find something of a certain gravity, I have to end it. But I tend to see people go through your phone. They don't end it. They just
cut up.
But why would you want to even know?
Make you
Did you do that?
I'm telling you, I done some stuff.
I have.
You know? I think it's a woman thing though. Men really kind of be chilling on it. Like, men be like, if I find out, just know when I find out. But a woman, we investigators. We want to know.
I guess I'm a nigga. Because, I mean, and excuse my French. You know, for the people out here, you know that. Because,
you said the N-word.
I mean, I did say it. You know, I guess I am because, as I stated earlier, I barely know what color draws I got on. More less worried about somebody else's. I am a firm believer that whatever you're doing wrong is going to come to the light. Because sometimes we go looking for shit and we're not in that position to receive what we find at that time, too.
That you did it, that the person did it or did something. You might find out some details about
somebody.
You don't want to know.
Oh, they may be talking about your ass to somebody too. You know, you just.
I done been there.
Come on, man.
When
it's
you
a lot.
To your best friend about me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this how you feel when I did that. What? Oh, you was really mad, but you told me you wasn't mad.
Exactly. Oh, and don't let them say your sex game is raw and wrong, because I take that personally. I'll probably just die.
Man, you know, I think that affects a man more.
It affects a woman too. Yeah.
Your thing be like, hey man, you know she don't want you, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do. No, I'm not. I don't care what you pull me. I'm not.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't mean to get off task, but
that was good though.
Yeah, it's just certain times we should just not go looking for things.
Yeah.
So you've been transparent so far. Now we want to get into the meat and potatoes. we would like you to share with us, if you're comfortable, of your journey leading up to that moment.
Okay.
What happened?
I think for me, it was a lot of childhood unhealed things. Kind of like a identity crisis that I felt like I was going through. Mm-hmm. And then when I did get into church, I struggled a lot with my sexuality. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, if you head into church, they don't want to hear that, you know, you might like the same sex.
Right.
And so for me, that was something that I was dealing with internally, but I couldn't say it out loud to get help with, I'm not going to say I needed help with, but I felt like I needed it because the church was telling me you're going straight to hell. You know, if that's something you partake in. So that was a major struggle for me. I was going to church. I was being told that I was gifted. You know, I was being asked, hey, we want you to become a ordained minister. But I knew deep down inside, like, I'm feeling this way and I'm dealing with this on top of all the other bull that I've been through. And then it came to a point where I started Christian therapy. Mm-hmm. And in therapy, one of the biggest things that my therapist was saying was like, you need to forgive your mom. And so I'm like, okay. And so I started trying to have this relationship with my biological mom because I felt like that was a part of forgiveness, which I shouldn't have at that time.
Right.
And things just led me down a dark path.
Right.
And so I think it had a lot to do with like the religion, me dealing with my sexuality, you know, letting people into my life that didn't need to be there, that were taking advantage of me because they knew that I was weak enough for them to do it. And then I finally went through an experience where I was trafficked. I was held against my will for almost a month and a half. And what I experienced while I was in it, it really took a toll on me. And when I came out of it, the person that was my pastor at the time, like, shook me off. Like, hey, you need to go get help. And it was like, you went through this, go get help. And I was like shipped off. And I feel like that made me feel so unworthy and so low. Yeah. And eventually when I came back from the program that I was in, I just couldn't deal.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal. I was just like, you know, I had nothing to stand on as far as like support.
Yeah.
I felt like the church was against me. They were looking at me funny. You know, you come back, people kind of heard what I went through. And so it's like, you know, it was that. It was the shunning.
Yeah.
And I'm still dealing with my sexuality.
Yeah.
And then my relationship with my mom is still broken.
Yeah.
My relationship with my siblings
a lot.
is broken. You know, my biological dad, I went to visit him and his wife put me out. And you're talking, I'm in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
You know, it's not my fault your husband, you know, made a child on you.
Exactly.
You know, my dad was heavy into church. So it was like a lot of shunning, you know.
Yeah.
Can't have a relationship with him because the church is like, oh, that's an outside child. Leave that child outside of, you know. And I could not find peace of mind anywhere. No.
Yeah.
And so I really felt like, I'm like, if the person who carried me in her womb for 9 months, went through labor, pushed me out, can act as if I don't exist, then maybe I really shouldn't be here. Maybe I really was a mistake. And so it led me to a point, it was after a church service on a Sunday. Before this happened, it was around Easter time. And before it happened, the church that I was at was doing like an Easter program with all the young adults. And the pastor called me into her office. And she was like, I don't feel like you're well enough and you're healed enough to do with what all the other young adults are going to present. So you're going to sit down for this. And I mean, it like destroyed me. And so, you know, I watched them practice and Easter time came and we had church. And it was just like, I feel like the whole time she was up there preaching, she was talking to me.
Yeah.
And I watched.
He's holier than thou people.
Yeah. Oh. And so that Sunday I went home and I remember calling the pastor to tell her, like, I have no food in my apartment.
Yeah. And
she had her daughter drop some food off. But the way that it just made me snap. She brought the food, it was in a container, and she put it on the ground at the door and left.
Like you a dog?
Yeah. And I mean, I lost it. She called, she said, oh, I left your food on the porch. And when I opened my apartment door, it was sitting on the ground. And I was just like, these people think that I'm nothing.
Yeah.
So I have an older sister. She lives in Florida.
I'm trying to control myself.
She lives in Florida, and I called her, and I was like, listen, I can't take it. She had no idea where I stayed.
Yeah.
She was like, where are you? And I wouldn't tell her. And I was like, I'm about to take my life.
Yeah.
And so I took 2 bottles of medication, and I was out. When I woke up, my sister, she is a licensed social worker, so she's been trained on how to handle situations like that, and she got me the help that I needed.
So wait, you skipped through that. We need to go back. So who found you? If you took the 2 bottles, who found
911
you?
found me. My sister called 911, and
They traced your
she
number.
Took what you said.
yeah, she took it very serious.
Thank God she did.
Yeah, she took it very serious. They
my God.
they literally had to kick my apartment door in because I was out.
Wow.
I was out.
How was the hospital stay?
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
I'll never do this again because it
Yeah.
was so bad. When I woke up, they were shoving a tube down my throat.
Yeah.
And they were giving me charcoal to help.
Neutralized.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, I mean, you get locked up. You have someone that sits in front of your hospital, room. I went to the
Yeah.
regular ER, and of course, doctor after doctor came in, and they were like, yeah, so you're going to the mental hospital for a visit. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I had sliced my wrist. And, the doctor was like, well,
So-
Wait. Because okay, go ahead.
So you had, is it suicidal ideation? Would you slash in your wrist, or did you actually? Was that a real attempt?
no, it was a real attempt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I say real, I'm not.
No, I get what you're
Okay.
saying, but no,
Yeah.
it wasn't like I need help. It was like,
tired.
this is what I'm tired. So
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like outside of taking the medicine, I'm gonna that way. If the medicine don't work, I can bleed out.
You did both at the
That
same
was
Yeah.
what? That was nothing but God that you're still here.
Yeah.
It wasn't your time.
It wasn't.
It was
I
not
know
your
that now,
time.
but at the time,
I know you
it was-
didn't, because just
yeah.
look at all you endured.
Yeah.
And then, so the aftercare. So after you go through them, did you have to wind up getting stitched up?
yeah.
Did you bleed out?
They only held me for 24 hours in the regular hospital,
That's
and
it.
then put me in literally a straight jacket,
You're
handcuffed me
kidding.
to the bed, and took me to the mental hospital. Yeah,
That's what they're doing now.
that's what they do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did your foster parents, did anybody know or come to your aid?
So my biological sister, and once again, so I have siblings that are way older than me,
Right.
Because my dad, he was an older guy, and so she contacted my dad, and she was like, "Hey, you got to get to baby girl." They call me baby girl,
Right.
And she's like, "You got to get to her." So he called, and they found out when I was allowed to have visitation, and the psychiatrist that I was working with at the mental hospital had him come in, and my dad, he spoke on my behalf. He's like, "She's very smart. She is just going through a rough time. I'm not there for her. Her mom hasn't been there for her. She's going through a lot."
Yeah.
And that kind of pivoted, their direction and how I guess you can say they were going to handle things for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did they provide aftercare for you? So you just stayed in a mental
I
and they
stayed
left
there
you.
for 4 days, and on the 4th day, he's like, "Yeah, your dad said that, give him a call. He'll give you a ride home. If you start feeling like this again, call somebody." And they gave me pamphlets. They give you resources. They send you home with a manila folder, and it has resources in it. But, yeah.
But if you've done that, in most cases you're not healed from you just survived.
Yeah.
So in most cases you're not healed from that. I would think that they would keep you longer, or actually make your appointments and say this is where you have to be, and if you're not here at this time, we'll have somebody. Even the home visits after the fact.
No, I got a pamphlet. Well, some
Wow.
pamphlets, phone numbers, resources, and follow up, set a therapist appointment, talk to someone that you trust, and of course they always
leave it
revert
in
you
your
back
hands.
to go to church. Yeah, go to church.
How did that work out?
Yeah. I am a very spiritual person, but I'm not deep into religion anymore because I've seen what religion can do to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Churches are needed if they are churches that are really for the people. They're needed.
Yeah.
But I'm not a religious person. I had to, and it was like escaping a cult because you become so ingrained with what they teach you about religion that even if your heart knows that, okay, this is not, it's like a tug of war between the doctrine and,
Who you really are.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So
You have no idea how much I resonate with you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Girl, you stronger than what you think you are. That's all I got to tell you. So how did your family, what did your support system look like after the situation took place?
I could honestly say a lot of people at church, because church at that time was my support system, right?
Yeah.
They had become my family.
Yeah.
I felt so judged. And so my biological dad was like, "Hey, You probably need to just like leave Texas for a while. So I went to live with my sister.
Okay.
My oldest sister, and she was in Florida. And when I went there, I was such a mess.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was her background or, you know, I don't know what it was, but she poured into me so much.
Wow.
It was like, you're going to get back in school. You know, we're going to go to seminars. You're like, you have to do this for yourself. Your parents are not coming to save you. Like, no one cares. And she gave it to me, right? No one cares what you've been through.
Right.
You're 25.
Yeah.
You know, like, get it together. I understand you've had these experiences, but are you going to allow these experiences to strip you of your full potential?
Right.
And that was like the catalyst. Like, it started just, and I hated it because I was like, you're judging me. You don't understand. You know, you had a relationship with dad. You had your mom, you know, but no, what she was saying to me was what I, like, get it together, snap out of it. You know, you're in control of your destiny. And those are things, every time I cried, every time I had an excuse, she was like, you can do this.
Yeah.
You know, and so I got back in school. And, you know, I started going to different, I started believing in myself. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You said the key thing, you started believing in yourself. Forget what anybody else thinks. So at that moment, when you came to that realization that I believe in me, did you still care what others thought? Or tell us what that looked like.
Of course. Because I feel like it's, caring about what other people think can sometimes be an addiction.
Yep.
Like, a lot of times the only addictions we talk about is like drugs or substance abuse, but things can be addictive that are not just drugs and substance abuse. So how other people feel about me used to matter to me so much. Like, I want them to love me. I want them to be proud of me. Look, I did this.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, at one point, success started being my way to try to get people to validate me.
Yeah.
Or to, I guess you can say, like, be happy or, you know, proud of me, right? Yeah. But the thing about people and the thing about humans is that one minute they sing Hosanna and the next minute they say crucify. And when I learned that,
that's good right there. You not lying.
Is that all you? Did you do that?
Yeah.
Man, wasn't that tough? That was some, man.
When I learned it was just like an aha moment, literally.
Yeah.
It really was, like, not being serious. When I realized you can love me today and in the same breath tomorrow you hate me because of a decision, a choice that I'm making.
That you made.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Listen, have your opinion, that's cool, but your opinion it doesn't validate me, it doesn't pay my bill. You know, like, I had to really rewire my brain.
Absolutely.
You know, and people will always have an opinion about your life.
Yep.
And I understand that now. So.
Yep. So if you had this moment right now to tell somebody who actually have maybe contemplating suicide, may have those thoughts or have actually attempted it, what would you tell them that'll be their aha moment or attempt to give them their aha moment to prevent them from further hurting themselves?
The biggest thing I can say is, like, bet on yourself, right? Yeah. If you in your life, you in every possibility that can be in your future.
Yeah.
None of us know the future, but I am a firm believer now that it does get better. And I know people be like, oh, that's so cliche. No, if you just one day at a time, like one brick at a time, it will get better. There's always a rainbow after the storm.
Yes.
And I think for me, what I didn't realize is that life is seasonal. So we're either like going into a storm, we're in the middle of it, or we're coming out of it. And when you start looking at life like that, knowing that things are gonna happen, but you can still find the joy, you can still find the, you know, the optimism in it, the lesson in it.
Yes.
And I am a firm believer in manifestation. So if all I think about is how bad this situation is or my life is, that's all I'm going to, like, our brains are so much more like things that we think. And I think that a lot of, like, people deciding that I don't want to live anymore comes from here. Not always just the external things, because you're basically saying that you feel like life has deemed that you're not worthy, and each one of us is in our own right, you know, whatever that looks like for each person. But I would say to that person, bet on yourself. You know, get help. And not being cliche, get help. Because I believe I will be in therapy for the rest of my life. Because of things that I've experienced. But it's okay. I'm doing that for me because I'm betting on me.
That's right.
But just know that there's always going to be seasons of life that are rough. But what do you do in those seasons? And I feel like if I would have ended my life, I would have allowed people to win. I would
Yeah.
allow the enemy to win. And so for me, I'm not letting nobody win.
There you go.
Like as a kid, I had no control.
Yeah.
But now I got control.
Yeah.
And I'm going to control this narrative.
I know that's
I'm going
right.
to manifest what this life is going to be for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Chon, what you got to say? I know you got something to
fucking
say.
dope. I have nothing.
Yeah, come on.
I'm literally.
You got the mic. You know how to use it.
Well, I'm not gassing you up. However, from the minute you were talking about your childhood and upbringing, there are so many things that I've experienced that's just like that. So right now at this moment, and this is therapy for me. I'm literally
I love it.
watching somebody that has mirrored the same experiences that I've had and just checking out how you handled it.
Yeah.
And then that's why I'm over here listening.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful situation.
Absolutely.
Yes. So tell them, the people now, how you celebrate your life with all your resilience, and what brings you joy. Joy now.
The joy counter.
I'm loving that joy. I'm telling you, I'm loving
I think I'm
it.
extra. 'Cause
Okay.
I love me.
That's right.
Like, I'm going to spend time with self, even though, at this
Yeah.
time, like, I am in a relationship, but I'm big on, like, listen, I'm going to eat by myself. I'm going to, like, things that I love to do, I don't wait on people to do with me.
Yeah.
But birthdays, I used to never celebrate birthdays. I used to be like, oh, my God, it's another birthday. I'm still here. I was so negative Nancy.
Yeah.
But now it's like, no, I'm going to go to the dinner. I'm going to travel to the place. I'm going
right.
to buy myself. Like, I love on me as hard as I love on everyone else.
You celebrate yourself.
Yes.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
And I do it without like feeling like bad about it. Because I used to feel bad about it. Like, oh my God, I bought this purse. Like, did I deserve it? No. Like, if I could buy it for you, I could buy it for me.
That's right.
So I just celebrate myself. I love on me. And I spend time with self.
That's good.
I love going places alone sometimes. I think that we get so busy, we don't, like, I got to know who I am. Like, right now at 33, who am I? Okay. This is who you are right now. And then in a new chapter, because we're constantly evolving. So I just love on myself. Like, I do the things I love. Yeah.
I love that. Chon, so have you decided that through all of this, that it can make you, how can I say, have awareness that if you're struggling, because you're a man and y'all stubborn.
Yeah.
That's why this question is directed to you. If you're struggling, that you deserve to, out of your mouth,
So I'll answer
ask for help.
I'll answer that.
Go ahead.
There are actually men out there that do,
Yeah.
and do that very thing. And those are usually the ones that you kind of feel like
Yeah.
a little soft, a little tender. like Chris Rito. Shout out Chris.
Yeah.
Little
Shout out
tender,
Chris.
Little
Little tender.
So you don't want to, but, and there are also men that, and we're talking about conditioning. Mm-hmm. It's not that they don't know you should.
Yeah.
It's when you actually do it.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm not big on therapy and stuff like that. So, and the thing is, because I've been to a therapist before, and it's just like, when you leave, you drive home, you're like, oh, whole ass niggas.
Yeah.
Why did you tell me
Only
that?
you. Only you would think that.
I love it.
So I guess therapy is useless if you can't accept going to therapy.
Yeah.
So at what point are you going to therapy because you think you're supposed to?
Yeah.
Or are you going to therapy and actually getting something out of what you're going to therapy for? That makes
true.
sense.
Yeah, it
That's
does.
true.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird situation. I think most men recognize that you should probably show open up more and express yourself and share things that's going on with you. But man, I don't know how much of that is genetic. I mean, honestly, I don't know if that's just how men are wired.
Yeah.
That's why y'all live longer than we do, or
Yeah.
what?
Because y'all hold everything in.
But I don't know how. I honestly don't know how much control
Yeah.
we have over
Over
it.
that.
Like I told you,
Yeah.
I've gone to therapy.
Yeah.
And felt a little bit worse
Afterwards?
afterwards.
Yeah.
The euphoria
Yeah.
of getting off your chest comes back on you because now you feel like you didn't share too much of yourself. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It does.
It does.
Okay, so that's the best way I can answer that.
But not just from a therapy standpoint. What if you're hurting, and do you feel inclined to tell someone that's close to you, like, I need
I'm
help?
fortunate. I have a solid, like I was saying before.
Yeah, they recognize your signs.
Right, but not only that, but if I need to, I can reach out. I have like 5 or 6 really, really close male friends.
Yes.
And I'm not just friends. We're fucking tight. So if I'm going through it, I actually have the option. It depends on what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Like, do you need a tender touch? Because, again, I'm going to shout out Chris. Oh, I'm sorry, no Diddy. But like, I'll shout out Chris, for example.
They're going to give you a hard time.
I said, I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
So if you tell Chris, he's going to try to talk you out of it, but his way is a little more stern.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, well, man, all right, I understand all that. That's fucked up. But here's what we're going to do. You need to go and step up out of that shit, quit being tender.
Yeah.
But he's not going to abandon you in the process.
Right.
But then there's other people that you can sit up there and y'all could sip on something.
Yeah.
And just have a long, drawn-out conversation.
Yeah.
So you really got to pick and choose what type of issue are you dealing with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I hope I didn't make that overly complicated.
No, you didn't. No, we wanted the male's perspective. Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, you answered it perfectly.
I've shared too much with myself. No.
But seriously, for the men out there who don't have a way to cope, you just gave them a couple of methods.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check out your friends, your circle that's around
If you got 1 or 2 friends, male or female,
yeah,
you are fucking lucky.
Yes, absolutely, because there's so many people that don't.
So I feel
Okay, showing out.
Okay, he is.
I hit the friendship lottery.
You did.
So, there it
And
is.
they're very supportive of you, so that's a big
And
blessing.
I am them.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So now it's to the fun part.
Let's go. I like
The fun part is, let's talk about your brand, Choose Joy. Can you explain how Choose Joy came about? Which we gotta get a hint, get a hint of your epiphany that you had, that you the shit, and you found out you was the shit. Not nobody can't stop you. You know what I'm saying? And the objective of Choose Joy. And also, how do you use your platform to promote mental awareness and the healthiness of being mentally sound?
Okay, so I'm going to say, so my middle name is LaJoy.
Yes.
Right? And so when I went through this whole awakening, I was going to be this new person.
Yeah.
I was like, my first name, I wanted nothing to do with it because it was like attached to just so much pain and bad memories.
Yeah.
And so I started going by my middle name. And then I started realizing people would always say, oh, every time you come around, I'm laughing, I'm happy, you're so full of joy. And one day I was just like, you know what? It's a choice to choose joy.
Yes.
It really is. It's a choice to be happy. And in some of my moments where I would have these pity parties for myself, I would be like, okay, are you going to choose this or are you going to choose joy?
Yeah.
And it just was kind of birthed from that.
I love it.
But as far as the platform, for me, it's just been helping people to look at where they are in life. And I always talk about the top 5 areas of our life, our finances, our career/goals, our mental and spiritual health, and then our family, love life, things of that nature. I've learned to categorize those areas in our life because those are the most important areas. And just being able to help people figure out how to navigate those areas, connecting them with resources, connecting them with tools, and then being that inspiration for them during that process. So sticking it out with them, to the point where they start to choose joy for themselves.
Yeah.
And they see more joyful things in their life. Yeah.
That's touching. Have you had a teenager that sought you out that was in a similar or had a similar background to yours that you've had to help them find their way?
So I love kids.
Yeah.
I am the TT, the auntie. Everybody's kids are always drawn to me. But more so specifically, my biological sister, we lost her 3 years ago to a fentanyl overdose. And she had kids of her own. Yeah. And so my nieces and nephews are everything to me because I see and I want them to, I'm not going to say not experience what I had to go through because they're going to have their own share of trials and tribulations, but I'm very key in their life.
Yeah.
And so my sister kids, I seen that they were experiencing a lot of the things that we experienced, generational curses, right? So I would say
Yes.
particularly, like, it's my bloodline. Like, those kids come to me for everything.
Yeah.
Like, they will tell you, if I kill somebody, I'm calling my TT. Like, if she's coming.
Right.
And so I'm not going to say they're my projects.
Right.
But I work with kids career-wise, but
Mm-hmm.
they are the ones that I pour into.
You're invested in.
Yes.
Yeah, because I can't like
Yes.
invest into the world and then they,
And they struggling. Yeah.
no.
Where do you do that at?
Yeah,
I get
so
exactly
it's
what
my
you're
nieces and
saying.
nephews.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And when they start that talk of, oh, you know, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling this, I don't brush them off. We take it serious.
Exactly.
We're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna get you some help. And even outside the help, we're gonna mess with the mind. We're gonna,
Yeah.
you know, do some affirmations every day. We're gonna
Yeah.
get you off of social media for a little while.
Yeah.
And focus on self-worth. So they are my babies, and they're the
Yeah.
ones that, yeah, they're gonna go far.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us about, since you have this whole, you know, talent, that's the best word I can use.
Yeah.
What are some of your upcoming projects? What are your aspirations that you want to have to be able to fulfill everything? We know you have Choose Joy, but I know there's other things cooking.
Yeah, so I actually recently just got asked to come to the Bahamas in June
Okay.
for a sex trafficking awareness conference that they're having.
wow.
So I'll be speaking there and doing a presentation on just sex trafficking and how to help people when they come out of it, transition back into, you know, just regular life.
Yes.
Do you have any information about that we can share on the screen for?
Yeah.
Can,
Well, I don't have it right now
Okay.
because it's in June and we haven't met yet to talk about the details.
Right.
But that is something that I could get back to you guys
Awesome.
Yes.
at a different
Got it.
time. Yeah, so I have that coming up.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys heard of the TV show that was filmed in Houston called Mo. Yeah,
No.
it's on Netflix.
I do. It's
Yeah.
it's a series.
Yes, a
I
series.
hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm on season 2.
Are you
Okay.
really?
Yeah, it comes out in June. It was
Okay.
really fun filming that. We wrapped that this
Awesome.
past June.
Yeah.
So I have that coming up in June as well. And right now, I am kind of like in the rebranding, I guess you can say, stage of Choose Joy because I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to connect my brand more with the community.
Yes.
Especially like at events and things of that nature.
Yes.
So I am looking to, you know, get like a brand manager and stuff like that and just revamp my brand for the new year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
You have any questions
I
for
don't.
Joy?
I'm sitting here soaking this in.
Okay. Well, with that being said, we don't prolong greatness. We have to leave greatness where it's at. You know, sometimes you can do way too much
Yeah.
and just screw it all
Yeah,
up.
what's your favorite fruit?
Yeah, just being ridiculous at that point. Yeah, peaches.
You like the hard peaches or the real soft?
juicy ones.
There you go. You got your
Yeah.
answer. So, what we do want to say is, anyone out there, if you're thinking about harming yourself or you have attempted to harm yourself, please reach out. Please speak with a parent, a teacher, someone you're comfortable with. And if you are not comfortable, if you go to www.cdc.com, there's various resources. There's also tips for you as well out there for you to be able to try to mitigate how you're feeling at that time until you can speak with a therapist, counselor, or whatever your issue may be. We just want everyone out there to know that suicide is real. And if you have someone that is contemplating or have told you, take it seriously. Just take it seriously. Chon, we'll let you have words, and then we want Joy to wrap up our segment.
Yeah, so as here, my little brother committed suicide. And so it's from the opposite side of, you know, what I want people to understand is the effect on the people that you leave behind is profound. And I realize at that moment it's about how you feel and you're not really thinking about the family. But you know, some days I'm mad at him, some days I'm sad about it, some days I'm confused. And you leave your family in a perpetual state of confusion when you do that. So if you feel that way, man, you know, reach out and
Wow.
you know, try to get help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was profound.
Yeah, that was.
I didn't even
that
think
was really
about
deep.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was because you don't
Yeah.
think about the other side of it.
Yep.
Nah.
We
You're not
never
even-
think about it.
You don't. Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, that.
Well, I had to breathe and then just
Oh, okay.
digest what
Yeah,
you
that-
know said because I hadn't thought about it.
Well, I'm trying to open up. I've been
appreciate
listening to Joy.
Maybe therapy, help the.
It's you, Joy. Because I'm not being therapized.
Right.
Word. I'm talking with somebody who are like, oh, okay, she get it.
Exactly. She understands it without judgment. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just say, just don't give up. Don't give up, and know that life can change at any second.
Yes.
And you don't want to miss that opportunity for your life to change. And love yourself enough to, go to someone, regardless to who it is, and say, I need help.
Yeah. That's simple and true. We thank you all for joining the Social Drinkers podcast. This is Suicide Awareness Month, and we try to bring awareness to certain topics that would help the audience. If you, again, feel like there's more assistance that you need, contact www.cdc.com, and they do have prevention guides out there, and then they can give you additional resources. Thank you for joining us. Peace.
Peace.
It's the Social Drinkers podcast.